Good afternoon, everybody. It's your friend Sheep Ludes, live in the middle of a thunderstorm. I mean, this is a pre recorded video because I have no idea when my power's going to drop because I live in the Midwest, home of horrifically terrifying thunderstorms. Zeus really hates the Midwest. I'm just convinced of it. Imagine being like an old timey Greek person, not like a 65-year-old Greek guy, but like in the BC times. And every time there's like a large storm, you think there's like an angry Jack dude in the clouds that's just either throwing a temper tantrum or like coming and just throwing lightning bolts around. That has to be so scary. The Midwest is an interesting place when it comes to thunderstorms. There is a group of Midwest roofing contractors right now just feverishly tugging at the idea of scamming people's insurance companies for hail payments. I just know it. High res packs came out today, which is cool. Let's talk about the market. They haven't really caused as much market inflation or deflation as you would expect. Surprising, I know. If you're wondering why I'm not live tonight, I kind of covered that with the whole giant thunderstorm thing, tornado warnings and such. Don't really want to be live streaming while I get wrecked by a giant funnel cloud, which probably won't happen. I don't live in areas where funnel clouds typically touch down, but anything is possible. Now, the high res packs, the odds are horrific. If you watched my pack opening earlier, you will know that nothing good really came from this pack opening. I got one card from the set that happens to be a card that's partially expensive, so that's cool. But the odds are terrible, and for the most part, outside of two opals and the dark matters, everyone is super cheap. So let's talk about them for a second. So, look, I got none of the cards. I pulled one, I put them up on the auctions, and we're going to see what we get. So, we'll start with Shaden Sharp. Shaden Sharp is like 6,000 MT. He is okay. I wouldn't go out of my way to pick this guy up. I'm actually going to try to get a hollow one just because. Shout out to Hollow Jay telling me to buy hollows instead of packs all the time. I still won't listen to that advice, but I'm getting closer to being on that same wavelength. Shaden Sharp is like aggressively okay. Like, I don't think he really does anything well. Like, he just does everything like pretty okay. Very satisfactory, I would say. Like I said, if you're a Portland fan, sure, but there's really no reason to pick up Shaden Sharp unless you're doing it for collections or all-time teams. Like, that's about it. Then we got Evan Turner. Evan Turner is one of the top budget point guards in the game. Debatable on if he's at Luke Walton's level. I would say he's better altogether than like Denny Avdija. Denny's significantly better defensively, but like Evan Turner significantly better offensively. And I feel like Evan Turner's defense is slightly better than Denny's offense, if that makes sense. But Denny's also bigger, so it's really, I would say him, Luke Walton, and Evan are kind of like right there. Evan Turner's really good, though. His jump shot is fire. The Brandon Clark release, very good if you use Mark McGuire or Willis Reed. You'll know that's some good stuff. Do you hear it absolutely going to town outside? Just boom, boom, rain, rain, rain. My cat is horrified right now. Anyways, Evan Turner is, I don't know, just he's pretty good, right? I think there is a little bit of hype on him. He may not live up to the hype that some content creators are kind of bestowing on him, but at the same time, he is kind of, I was going to say he's the perfect middle ground between someone like Luke Walton and someone like Denny, but Luke Walton actually plays surprisingly good defense. So I would say Evan Turner's overall probably the second best pink diamond point guard that you can pick up for like under 50K. It's good. Then we got Desagna Diop. Okay, here's the thing is on paper, you look at this card and he doesn't look good. Okay, like on paper, he doesn't. Like, he looks like a defense first big. But at the end of the day, the Bosch release I actually like quite a bit. He's got a 78 three-pointer as well. The 37 ball handle is going to be his biggest issue, and the fact that he has no shooting badges. But this dude is one of the most monstrous defensive cards I've seen in a while. I mean, really, if we're talking about the fact that he's incredibly good, it really comes from the fact that, like, there's really no good budget centers. Like, really, people are still using Olowokandi at this stage, so I would say he's very similar to maybe like a JaVale McGee. Like, he's not going to be holding the ball, but he plays really good defense, and he actually looks a little bit bigger than like a 7 foot. 78 three-pointer too. I mean, you can apply a bunch of shooting badges to him. You know, you can give him limitless range. You can give him like blinders, catch and shoot, etc. So, I mean, if you're willing to put the badges on him, you could be looking at a very, very good budget center. That being said, just know he's not going to be handling the ball, and there are limitations there, but he's actually a lot better than you would expect. If you're looking for something to, or a card to kind of change it up a little bit, maybe you're running Mark Eaton, you're kind of bored of him, or maybe you're like me and you've been running Marc Gasol as your bench center for like the last 2.5 months, and you just want something new, Diop can definitely provide that for you, so he's worth checking out maybe. Caruso's just like worse Gary Payton. Like that's kind of what I would describe Caruso as. Caruso's better in regards to rim running. So if you're kind of like a rim runner, I would recommend going Caruso. I think his jump shot is a little bit easier to green, personally, but that could come from having used Caruso for a long period of time earlier this year. He's good though, for sure, but I just think there's a lot of cards at this stage that kind of do what Caruso does. They made this card a little bigger too because he's 6'5" and not 6'4" like his diamond, so he does look a little bit bigger. And you might find that this may be the perfect point guard. He's worth a check, I would say. Like if you want to check to see if he's worth it or he is a better fit for your team, you know, at like 6,000 MT, he's worth checking out. You know, that's kind of on the lower end though. I would kind of say that you're most likely to pay between 7 and 9K for him, just so you're aware. Jeremy Sochan. And please tell me if I'm saying that right, because I said Sochan for a while, and then people said that was wrong, and then I think it's Sochan, but I could be wrong. It might be Sochan. I don't know. I'm going to continue to say Sochan. I will say that I'm so high on this card. Like, I am so high on this card. I know a lot of the hype is going to be put on Poku, but I'm not kidding when I say that this card might be the best card in the set. But that's coming from someone who's liked Sochan all year. His jump shot's on quick now, so it's a jump shot that you can reasonably time. It is a little bit slower, but it's fine. He's got Francis size up if you want to try to dribble with him, which, you know, you didn't expect that. I didn't. He's got Kobe escape, Donovan Mitchell crossover, Dame's behind the back. Like, he looks bigger than 6'9", too. He probably looks about 6'10", 6'11". I'm just saying, you may not really think to try him out, but I'm not kidding. I actually think he's worthy of a kind of roster spot. You know, if you want to pick him up, give him a try. If you don't like him, sell him. You may be surprised with Sochan, especially like he can play power forward or small forward. Realistically, he's good. He is really good. I kind of skipped over Poku, but Poku's the most expensive of these guys, and he is really good. But I'm not kidding. I actually think, like, if we're talking factoring in price, I actually think that Sochan might be a little bit better. Poku's good, obviously. You know, he's got his own release on quick, which, you know, it's I actually don't really think it's that fast, to be honest. It's pretty slow. It reminds me of Scottie Pippen's release from last year, but like a little bit worse. He's good. I mean, he's 7 foot tall at the small forward, which I feel like is why a lot of people are going to gas him. But realistically, I mean, I would just spend the extra... Yeah, I would spend the extra MT to get like Jonathan Bender, like at the end of the day, but you know, it depends on what his price is, which I'll check. He was about 90K today, which at that point I would grab Poku over Bender if that was like a 50K price jump, but Poku's really good. We've all used Poku, so it's like I don't want to talk about it too much. Ricky Davis. Ricky Davis was actually looking like he was going to be a buyout because he has been getting pulled relatively frequently, but gameplay videos went up and people are gassing Ricky Davis to the moon. I don't think it's controversial to say that he's probably like he's a top 5 shooting guard for sure, and depending how much you like Glenn Rice, you could make the case that maybe Ricky Davis is like number 3 or number 4, right? So he's not quite at like a T-Mac or Terry Dissinger level, but he's also like a fraction of the cost. Now that being said, should you be spending like over 100K for Ricky Davis? I would say no. Granted, I personally think he might be a little bit better than like Glenn Rice and Benedict Mathurin. I don't think it's worth spending all that MT when you have a free card that's just like a hair worse, you know? Ricky Davis, we all use the pink diamond. I say that sarcastically because most of us could not afford to use the pink diamond because he was so expensive, but he's good. That Seth Curry release is nice, you know? He moves well. Deadlift Shrimp is actually shockingly solid. He looks huge at 6'10", and he can move. His release, Wayne Ellington release, is like not bad. Like it's pretty decent actually. If you end up having to shoot with like LaFonso Ellis or like D Brown at any point, like you'll know that. His defensive tendencies are horrendous, but if you're looking for a pure offensive small forward, he's got Garland size up, John Wall escape. Like he can move surprisingly well, and his badges are obviously cracked out. So you may find that you actually like Deadlift quite a bit. Talking Hoffs, like he's got bully, limitless, posterizer, so he can actually attack the rim, which is not something Deadlift is typically very good at doing. So that's nice. Typically, he's just like a Rashard Lewis type, you know. But they kind of juiced him up. He's actually pretty good. And for price wise, I mean, he's about the same price as like Poku. I think he's actually cheaper. Like I'm pretty sure you can get him for like 20K or under, which is kind of a steal. Josh Giddey. Now Giddey requires some badges, certainly, but he has a massive player build. Like it is crazy. 6'8", but he honestly looks bigger even. It's that 7-foot wingspan, I think, is why he looks so big. But his release, very similar to like Jason Kidd's, but it's on very quick, so it's a little bit more manageable. He's got like Curry escape and stuff too. Tendencies aren't the greatest, but they're fine. He does need badge additions for sure. Like for Giddey with that slow release, you're going to need to give him, I mean, Limitless is very beneficial, so obviously you want to give him that, but you're going to want to give him Deadeye for sure. Deadeye is necessary because he has that slower release, right? Space Creator is nice as well. And then I'd recommend like Agent 3, realistically. But Mismatch Expert is really important also. The reason I say that, if you run into anyone who's using a smaller point guard, yeah, you're going to be eating on him for sure. Brick Wall, also necessary for Giddey. But he's good. He's good, and he's very good at rim running. He's a very good rim running. He's basically Caruso, but like 5 inches taller. Like that's what you're getting with Josh Giddey. Same kind of jump shot speed as well. Giddey's good, man. Giannis. I mean, this is just Dark Matter Giannis, but like slightly worse. Like that's what it is. If that's something that interests you, then yes, go for it. If not, just ignore it. Like he's got the same tendencies, same attributes. Badges obviously are going to be worse. He has less Hoff badges, which makes total sense. Still a monster defender. Why did I say defender like that? I don't know. Honestly, it's getting kind of crazy outside. It's starting to kind of freak me out. It's raining like really hard, and it's going vroom, 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 vroom. It sounds like somebody is revving like 14 motorcycles outside of my house right now. Harleys too, not crotch rockets. Which is just... the word crotch rocket. So sus, dude. Such a suspicious word. Or I should say phrase. Anyways, Giannis, I mean, I've talked about the Dark Matter before. He's the same. Just worse. Less Hoff badges. Like 14 less Hoff badges for sure, which I'll go into detail on which ones those are right now. So there's obviously some stats that are better, but it's really kind of pointless. Like it's like passing vision and stuff. So Dark Matter Giannis, it is going to be Gold Aerial Wizard instead of Hoff. Not the most important. Fearless Finisher. I kind of like Fearless Finisher post spin. Slithery. So Slithery I think is important though for sure. Dimer Floor General, Hyperdrive, Post Playmaker. Yeah, pretty important I would say. And then defensively is where you're going to see a lot of it. Like that's the big difference, right? You're kind of losing +1 and Brick Wall, so it's like Brick Wall, Challenger, Off-Ball Pest, Pick Dodger, Pogo, and Workhorse. Those are all pretty important. So yeah, he is a marketable step down, but if you're looking for a cost-benefit analysis, it's not bad. I'll be honest, Booker's not worth it because he's way too expensive for what he actually is. I mean, he's like $600K for... I mean, just go buy Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is literally cheaper and better at everything. That's just how it is. Like LaMelo's cheaper and better at everything, so just go do that. Cade's good. I've heard people say he's the best point guard in the game. Don't know if I agree with that. Once again, when it comes to Cade Cunningham, I mean, go buy Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's better. Like Jimmy Butler is quite literally better than both of these guards. Like I have to say it. Like Lonzo Ball's not better. I can say that. Jimmy's price actually has gone up quite a bit due to this fact. Like, they're all kind of the same price, realistically. So, I mean, if you're going to spend the MT, just go grab Jimmy Butler. Like, that's it. All the point guards went up in value. Like, Şengün was a buyout, and he still is, but instead of being, like, 80K, well, he's still around 80K. Actually, he didn't go up very much. He's still good. What about Luke Walton? Luke Walton's probably the best budget point guard in the game. I'm dead serious. Yeah, I mean, Luke Walton's worth 20 to 25K. He's worth 20 to 30K, no question. 18,000, yeah, he's definitely worth the 18,000 for sure. 100%. This set didn't really affect the market of really anyone, except the bracket buster guys got like ever so slightly cheaper again, which was bound to happen. There's certain cards that maybe are a little bit cheaper now. Like Kobe's still Kobe, so he's more expensive than he was, which is just insanity because there's like probably at least 4 shooting guards better than him at this point. So why he's still 600K, I don't know, but I'm just going to let him rock. LaMelo's down a little bit. I would say LaMelo is, if not outright better than those guys. I mean, he's at least close. Like, I think he's better than Booker for sure. Kristaps isn't down in price. Like, blah, 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 blah. Some of these cards are actually up in price, and if you have any of these guys and you haven't locked them in, I cannot recommend enough to sell them now. Anyone that you have not locked in, sell them. Outside of maybe like, Valanciunas, Marcus Smart, RJ Barrett, those guys are really cheap and they're going to continue to be really cheap. I would recommend selling pretty much all of them. Like, especially TJ Warren, for sure. I'm going to pick up OJ Mayo just because it's funny, but definitely Claxton. Claxton's the most expensive of the diamonds, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's definitely not Cum Bucket. No, everyone else is super, super cheap. Even Big Boban out here. So if you have Claxton, sell him for like 15 to 18K right now. If you have TJ Warren, sell him for close to 100. Like, you can get at least like 80K for him. That's huge, right? Signature series, if you have Ben Wallace or Gordon Hayward, sell them ASAP. Ben Wallace is literally like 500,000 MT. Like, it's nuts. Look at how many Gordon Haywards are left. There's like none left. You can probably, if you have this entire signature series set, like, you're not going to make anything really off Danny Granger, De'Aaron Fox, and Dennis Rodman. Like, you're probably going to get about, let's see, what's Granger? Like 20K? He's like 15 to 20. De'Aaron Fox is probably like 10 or 15K. So, I mean, you'll probably make about 60K off these 3 guys. But these 2 guys alone right here will net you over 500K. And then Prime said if you have any of them, sell them. Like, it doesn't matter. People are overpaying for the homie Terry Dissinger at an alarming rate currently. So you definitely want to go do that while you still got a chance. That's just me, though. T-Mac is still remarkably expensive. Not shocking to see that there. Is there anyone that has actually been affected by any of these guys? What is Jonathan Bender going for? Because, Poku came out, and I feel like a lot of people want to use Poku. Bender's still pretty expensive, though. He's definitely down in price, but he's still expensive. So we have, like, random guys that have kind of gone down in price, like Luke Walton and, like, Denny have been affected by the presence of, like, Evan Turner. And then we have, like, Jonathan Bender, who's down a little bit because of the presence of Poku. Other than that, though, Paolo's kind of cheap. I was thinking about picking up Paolo, to be honest. I feel like Poku is kind of affecting Paolo's price as well. I don't think anyone really cares about Paolo at the end of the day, though. That's just me. Anyways, what is Giannis, like, Dark Matter Giannis going for? Yeah, I mean, it's not really... it didn't affect him, is basically what I'm saying. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who are you hoping is going to fall in price relatively soon? The obvious answer would be Yao Ming, who doesn't look like he's going to fall in price in any... really at any point, I guess is what I'm going to say. But have a good night, you guys. If you live in the Midwest, stay safe. Hit the basement if you need to. Not like me. Don't go to the attic. I'm in like quite literally the worst place. So peace out.